On today's Windows Wednesday, we're going to be talking about this requirement for the Microsoft account. And whoops, Microsoft broke it on the last update. Thanks for checking out this video by SwichtedtoLinux. If you like this type of content, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so. Leave us a like and a comment down below. And of course, last week we did talk about a little bit about the Microsoft account when Microsoft is trying to say we're going to do a whole lot of changes and adjustments to, prioritize quality control on Windows. And of course, the next update system that came out after that ended up breaking the logins for the required Microsoft accounts. Yeah. Well, this kind of started a little bit with an article here, was it last week, I think, one of the vice presidents at Windows says, yeah, I kind of hate this forced login. We're trying to work on this. And I guess there's a number of people inside the company, and this really is the biggest thing people are really complaining about, which is why there's constantly new ways to bypass this requirement for an internet connection and a Windows account, a Microsoft account when you set up your Windows 11 machine, and why Microsoft fights constantly to get rid of all of these methods every single time new ones are announced and popularized. And there was a survey on the original article here, and that survey suggested as many as, I think it was like 80 to 90%, I think it was closer to 90% of people really would prefer that local account, at least the local account be an option. And I started thinking about different scenarios why this is the case. Now, obviously, I've talked about it in the past. The reason I think Microsoft is doing this is because they want an authenticated user with every single time that individual computer is used. This feeds greatly into the data surveillance. But are there reasons why you should not have a computer that is on an account outside of the basic privacy stuff like we talk about? I'm thinking legitimate things. Number one, I have a computer sitting next to my television. Anybody can pick up the mouse and the keyboard, look for something to watch, to display, to research, to do things on the computer there in front of the television. It doesn't have to be tied to an individual person. In fact, if anybody in the family can do that and the computer is just sitting there always on, no real sensitive data on it, no real need for the AI or the OneDrive or anything else, it makes perfect sense to do that. Then I actually thought about church accounts and situations. So many churches will use computers in part of the service, whether that is displaying sermon notes or the songs when you're singing your songs at the beginning or end of church. And these all have slideshow presentations or, church software on it, which, by the way, there is a Linux version of church software out there. I've not played around with it much, but I know it exists. And so you think about this, and Microsoft wants the authenticated user. The problem is there's a rotating team of people that are probably running those computers. And it makes a whole lot more sense to have a simple local account on that computer that anybody can go in and just use, and it's just there doing the basic things you need that computer to do as you're simply displaying your presentations or whatever else you're doing on that device. So we think of these public use situations, think about just a family in general, like the old way we did things as sane and rational families. You have one family computer in the middle of the living room and anybody can use that computer, which if we went back to that method of a single computer in the house that a single person can, or that anybody in the family can access with a single local account, well, guess what? We are in a case where people are not so targeted, so subdivided, so segregated, so fed into these systems, and we end up producing perhaps even, dare I say, a little bit of sanity and mental health, rather than this world that wants everybody authenticated to track every single user, to target every single user with highly sophisticated, demographic, psychologically defined advertising, which should be illegal, but that's not stopping the web OS smart televisions from utilizing science as a service to feed you ads based not on what you have an interest in, but on what they believe a psychological profile of you happens to be. And all that starts with authenticating who you are. So Microsoft is not going to be interested in going to local accounts. But if enough people make enough of a wave, maybe, just maybe, we can get that local account back to the place where you can sanely choose to use that as an option instead of a Microsoft account. But we're going to have a look at a couple of articles here today. And so, of course, the announcement came in, and we can't actually see the exact results of the polls here. Maybe we can. I think it's because of the cookies here. So let's see, I'd use the local account. So here's the current results as of right now. So and as I talked about this poll last week, 63% I use the local account if allowed, and I'd use both options. I would like both options clearly offered during setup. So that's 60, 70, 80, 93% of people want to see the option of a local account. Microslop, are you listening? Probably not. They're too busy stuffing Benjamins in their ears on their fifth yacht in the middle of the Pacific. We don't care. We got money, you know. And then 4% of people who need checked into a mental asylum say, I'd rather stick with a Microsoft account. Or that could be the high-level senior executives. Maybe it's the marketers, whatever else. Either way, it's people that need removed from society at large. You know, make asylums great again, you know? I mean, why not, right? And then the 2% of people say, I don't mind the current requirement. Those are the guys who are like, I don't even know what this is talking about. I'm just kind of landed here. I don't know. But there is a lot of discussion here that people would prefer to have a local account. And this particular article author here, who is Cale Hunt, suggests, yeah, they probably will not change that requirement. And I don't know. I think with enough backlash, enough vocal support, enough people constantly calling them out on it, then perhaps, just perhaps, we could get back to the position where a local account is easily an option again. I'd prefer the Microsoft account entirely disappear, but I know that's not going to happen. But giving me the option to say, yeah, I just kind of want to use my computer locally as I see fit is probably the best way. Now, as Sean Endicott at Windows Central points out here, it comes at the most ironic of times that when there's all this discussion, even among internal employees at Microsoft, to get rid of this Microsoft account, the latest bug breaks the Microsoft account. Yeah. So you can't log into your computer without the Microsoft account, and their update broke it. Microsoft, where is this quality control you just gaslit us about last week? I mean, really? So gaslit will look like Michael Jackson drinking a Pepsi. All right. If you're too young to know that reference, go look it up. It's fun. All right. So Windows 11's latest patch Tuesday included some good upgrades, they said. Better sleep performance, new built-in speed test shortcut, and improved emojicons, because I guess we're all children. Okay. Read Juvenile by Christopher Noxon was a book, and I'd encourage you to read it. Maybe that explains it. But anyway, unfortunately, it also includes a frustrating bug that can lock you out of Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Edge, Excel, and Word. Why? All of those things need your Microsoft account. Lord forbid I come to my Linux computer, turn it on, and just boot up LibreOffice and start typing. And nobody's like, hey, where's your online account for all of that? I don't got one. I don't want one. I don't need one. All right. So yeah, you need your Microsoft account to type a local Word doc. Oh, they're not local anymore. That's right. Word now defaults to saving all your stuff in the cloud. Microsoft's got to scan your documents. Make sure that you're not involved in any wrong think here. I mean, come on. All right. Microsoft confirmed that the Microsoft account, the MSA sign-ins fail with, you'll need the internet for this error, even if your connection is perfectly fine. Of course, if you're using the Entra ID for Azure, you are not affected. But anybody utilizing sign in with a Microsoft account, which if you've been paying attention is nearly everybody who does not know how to hack their registry or did not have the foresight to set up a local account after giving in to the Microsoft account demands. So, They are working to resolve the issue. In the meantime, they have the following workaround. Well, you guessed it. Shut it down and turn it on again. If you try turning it off and on again. Well, there is a caveat. If you turn it off and on again, make sure it has internet before you turn it on. Because if there's no internet when you turn it on, you'll get the same error again. But every once in a while, when you boot the system back on with an internet connection already in it, hey, it'll work. So, maybe it's just part of that cramming it in to make sure you always have that sweet internet connection. Got to have a way. Isn't it kind of funny? Think about that, right? The internet connections. We are paying for the internet for them to utilize that internet we're paying for in our bandwidth and feed us an advertisement based on a psychological profile they built on us by stealing the data over the internet connection that we just paid for. I don't know, man. I ain't into that. I run my can I say that word? Ad blocker. I think it's a bad word now. I don't know. Can I use that word? I have that so that they just don't get that data. I just don't want them to have it. And I've never. I mean, what is an ad anyway? I've never seen one of those anyway. If the device is restored without an active internet connection, it might return to the connectivity state where the error could occur again. And so, yeah, they're saying down here, the commentary on the bottom of the article is excellent here. It falls somewhere between ironic and unfortunate as Microsoft has pushed people towards using a Microsoft account. Now, SwiftKey, I've never heard of SwiftKey because, I don't really care on customizing my keyboard on my mobile phone, particularly not with a Microsoft product. I mean, come on. Google and Apple are evil enough in and of themselves. I do not need to double down on the devil on my phone by having a Microsoft keyboard in there. But anyway, SwiftKey is a Microsoft keyboard that Microsoft bought it in 2016. They've let it linger along for a while. You've had your own SwiftKey account there, and it could basically detect your patterns of writing and give you a custom dictionaries and stuff like that. Well, as of May 31st, if you're using SwiftKey, you have to migrate your SwiftKey account to, yes, once again, you guessed it, a Microsoft account. So if you're using your Android phone or your iPhone and you happen to use SwiftKey, yet again, another Microsoft account. All of that dictionary and AI data, that training data on what you do and how you do it is now slopped up into your Microsoft account. All right. And so that's kind of what's going on there. Of course, why? It'll be more securely stored in OneDrive where we can dig through it all and hand it on over for a warrant. You will have enhanced privacy protections until we flag your account and then never give you a human to let you back into it. Easier access to your data across devices until, of course, we lock those things. We'll even bribe you with 1,000 of our useless points. I mean, I think you can actually get stuff for those, right? I don't know. You can actually spend some of these points to keep your Microsoft, your Windows 10 online for another 6 months or so. Yeah. Think of it. Yeah. What is it? It's March already. Don't forget the second ending deadline is in October 2026. That is when now Windows 10 is thoroughly dead unless you're academic or business. And it simplifies your experience by using the same credentials. The problem is with all of this, as they mention over here, the challenge with everything feeding into this, whether it's your OneDrive files, your Outlook email, your Microsoft, your video games through Xbox, now your typing in custom dictionaries through SwiftKey, everything is now in a Microsoft account with a single point of failure with a company that has had serious problems with security in the past. So having a Microsoft account as a requirement for so many services creates a single point of failure. Someone compromises security on your Xbox, they can gain access to OneDrive or read through your emails. So, of course, let's not forget with all of that into one unifying account and you get caught up in an unconstitutional geofence warrant, then all of that data can be handed over, including how you type on your phone can now be handed on over to a law enforcement agency that would really, really, really like to find somebody to pin something something on. No evidence is needed, mind you, as long as they get a conviction that they can get a jury to believe. And of course, the jury is brain dead now because it's made up of the average person roaming around here. So, you know, that's kind of the case. In theory, having the account should make it easier to sign into services like OneDrive and Teams, but the latest Windows bug proves that's not always the case. Whoopsies. Which Microsoft apps to use? Teams, Edge, Outlook, Office Suite, OneDrive, Xbox, Other, or none. Let's go ahead and click our none. Let's see. None. Oh, yeah, there you go. I need to hit submit vote. There you go. Let's see. It looks like the biggest thing people are using is Office Suites. All right, guys, I will introduce you to LibreOffice. You do not need to log into that Office Suite. Of course, if you want all of your Office documents easily synced across the internet, well, I guess you should keep using this, but I have pity on your soul. And then you got OneDrive's up there, Outlooks with 18%, Microsoft Edge 16%. Like, I don't know, signing into your web browser, that seems weird. There's Other, that must be the SwiftKey users, 4%. And 10% of us are like, no, I don't use anything. We're either fanatical radicals like me or lying, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, but anyway, there is our thoughts on what Microsoft is doing right now. Let me know your thoughts about all that down below. Just another little silly thing. Guys, I'll just remind you once again, you switch over to Linux and you do not have to deal with these online accounts that prevent you from logging into your system. You don't have to force everything to be on some cloud server somewhere. Your computer doesn't have a conniption fit if you're not on the internet. Well, many of them don't. A few of them do have a conniption fit if you're not, but yeah, such as be expected, I guess. Anyway, let me know your thoughts about all that in the comments down below, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.